Okay, number 30 asks us to simplify the radical square root of 500. Now, it looks like it's a lot more difficult than the last two problems, but it really isn't. There's a shortcut to this one also. Let's go ahead and prime factor 500. Now, I know this is divisible by 2, but it's also divisible by 5. You can see that 5 times 100 gives you 500. And 100 is a perfect square. You can divide 100 into 10 times 10. Now at this point, we haven't prime factored all the way, but we have noticed that there are two numbers that are identical on our prime factor tree, and we actually can stop right here, because we can write the radical square root of 500 as the same thing as the square root of 5 times 10 times 10. And again, if you want to keep prime factoring this to 2 and 5 and 2 and 5, you're going to come up with the same solution. In fact, we'll do that in a moment and you'll see this. But we can shortcut this. We can see that we've got two prisoners inside the jail that are the same value. That means one of them gets out, one of them dies. We end up with 10 on the outside of the jail. The only one left in jail is the 5. So the simplification of the radical square root of 500 is 10 times the square root of 5. Now, let's go ahead and continue with our prime factoring and see that we're going to end up getting to the same spot anyway. We could have continued and said, okay, 5 is a prime number, we're done. 10 is divisible by 2 and 5, we're done. And 10 again is divisible by 2 and 5, and those are prime numbers, so we're done. So we could have written the square root of 500 as this big long 2 times 2, there's our 2's. We have 3 5's times 5 times 5 times 5. If you multiply 2 times 2 times 5 times 5 times 5 in your calculator, you'll get 500. So this is equivalent to the square root of 500. Let's follow our same rule. The 2's have a pair. That means those two prisoners are the same number. These two 5's form a pair. Those two prisoners have the same number. One of these 2's cancels and one escapes. One of these 5's cancel and one escapes. And one 5 does not have a partner and it remains in jail. And now we can recombine the two prisoners that escaped. 2 times 5 is 10. Oops, I don't know why I wrote square root of 10 here. There was a 5 left in jail. That should have been a 5. 2 times 5 is 5. That combines the prisoners outside the jail. We're left with a 5 inside the jail. And you can see that answer is exactly the same as we got with a little bit of a shortcut. Either way you solve this, you're going to end up with the simplification of the square root of 500 being 10 times the square root of 5.